I'm here, Barry McCockenher, for the next 2 minutes. I've got my trusty notepad, and I am here to tell you where each team sits after the halfway point in the season. So let's start off with Team SpongeBob, who leads the league in WPRTT, wasting players ranked in the top 10. I mean, 8 of his guys are all within or just outside of the top 10. And it's sad because he sits at the bottom of the tiebreaker with barely 800 points scored. Next, we'll be talking about the California Brewing Company. With a league-high 20 moves made this year, the manager Ethan is leading the league in STFSO, scrambling to figure something out. I mean, this guy just can't catch a break. Next, we'll go to Atlantic Beach Taco Corp, who has completely shut the haters up this year with this kind of resurgency. He's the league leader in OF, which of course is oh fuck, because that's what anybody says when they see him matched up against their team every Sunday. Moving on to the newly renamed Chinese Hater, kind of an odd name, but they're the second lowest scoring team, and they lead the league in BBTFNDR. Blockbuster trade for no damn reason. I mean, this guy just gave Jamar Chase away, essentially. It was crazy. Moving on to the Duval Diamonds, who should probably change their name because there is nothing shining bright over there. Anyway, the manager, Robert Nettles, he's constantly picking the wrong team. It's not like his guys aren't bad, but he's got points for days on his bench every single week. He needs to get his shit together. Moving on to You're a Wizard Spina. Another name that might be changed, but you know, at least Neville was a wizard too, technically. And maybe that means that a little bit of an arc is in Logan Spina's direction, but that's unlikely. Moving on to the Watson's Angels. After manager Jimmy let the whole league realize how much he hated women, a complete heel turn has been made, which has kind of worked out surprisingly. His team's not great, they're not bad, they don't score a lot, but they're getting wins. So this team leads the league in MEH. Meh. Moving on to the Powerhouse 1-2, which is easily the deepest team in the league. The manager, Noah Bennett, just needs to get out of his own way if he's going to win it all. I mean, same thing with manager Robert Nettles. These guys are out here being too cheeky with their lineups and not just playing the best guys. Going down the line to Judge Judy, who is the third highest point scoring team, but also the second highest having points scored against them. So just so you guys know, if she makes the playoffs, that she will absolutely be leading the pack in FAFO. Fuck around and find out. Moving down to Jeffrey Dahmer, who, what can you say, guys? After his first season where he ran through and made the playoffs, he hasn't really done much of anything. The best quarterback in the league doesn't always translate to first place, but however, somehow this nincompoop has found himself at the top of the division, and a lot of that is due to the one and only Pat Mahomes. But salute to Amon-Ra St. Brown, too. Going out to Tallahassee, the Taint Touchers leads the league in BSO, being slept on. The very analytical stat that determines which team isn't being talked about enough as a powerhouse. I mean, these guys are tied with 1-2 and AB Taco Corp. They're like the fourth highest scoring team in the league. I just don't understand why nobody wants to give them a shot. Maybe that's due to, you know, reading or interpreting history. And what history will tell us is that no matter how good they do in the regular season, they're still going to get bumped in the first round. Excuse me. Now, moving on to the very last team is the Flyby Fruities. They have been having a rough go at it with injuries. Probably the second worst injury bug team out there this season. And, you know, they're still firmly in the mix. I think that this manager has figured something out by raising their CCMAH, which of course is you can't call me a homer rating. Last but not least is the Fly-By Fruities. They've been having a rough go at it with the injuries this year. Probably the second worst injured riddled team this season. But they're still firmly in the mix. And I think that's a big step in the right direction because manager Tyler Hammond really raised his CCMAH rating this offseason, which of course is you can't call me a homer. Well, thank you guys for letting me bury. Oh. Last but certainly not least are the Fly-By Fruities. Now, they've been having a rough go at it with injuries this year. Probably the second worst team. Now, last but certainly not least is the Fly-By Fruities. Now, they've been having a rough go at it with injuries. Probably the second most injury-riddled team this season, if we've got to be honest. But this man is still firmly in the mix. Manager Tyler Hammond did what we thought was impossible. This offseason, he was able to raise his CCMAH rating, which of course is can't call me a homer. With only one KC player on his team, I think it's safe to say that he's heading in the right direction. I'm Barry McCockiner, and that was me for 2 minutes.
And we're back with the Dick Aiken Show. I am your host, Dick Aiken, and we are at that middle point in the season where my colleagues and I get together. We go over some of the good, most of the bad. We look at how we are at this point right now, and we're going to look at where the future takes us. We're going to discuss that playoff bracket. I want to welcome in some of my colleagues here. First and foremost, I have the prettiest Barry McCockiner there for us. How you doing tonight, Barry?
I'm lovely, Dick. Thank you for asking.
Nice to see you. Looking good with the shades. You know, I like it. It's a good look on you. And on the other side there, we got our good friend, Mike Oxlong.
Hi, how's it going, guys? Great to be back for another mid-season review.
Mike, looking good up there. How's the cold weather treating you up there in Ohio?
You know, it's all right. They're getting to work back here on the brand new building. Broke ground last week. You can see how far they progressed in a week. They are working overnight. They give them no breaks at all.
There it is. Nice to hear it. No breaks are needed. That's the biggest thing. And then we have last and least our friend over there, Phil Asio.
I love you too!
What's up, Dick? How you doing?
Coming in from the bar, Phil. That makes sense. Not surprised by that one.
Yeah, I'm just down here at the local Outback, joining me a few BSPN fans behind me here. They rode a long way, so just want to welcome the live audience today.
There it is. Nice to hear it. Nice to hear it, Phil. Well, let's get started with this whole thing. Let's not keep the crowd waiting too long. We're going to break down the season here. We're going to go on. We're going to look at that playoff bracket. I want to talk about that one seed, one of those coveted buys. You got one buy on each side, on each division. Number one, best record. Where we think we're going with that one. I'm going to swing to you first, Barry.
The favorite has to be Atlantic Beach Taco Corp after the trade that they just made, right? I mean, not only are they Lamar and Mark Andrews combo, they're the number one wide receiver and running back, but they also just traded for Jamar Chase. Like, come on now.
I mean, that's a big move right there. That was a big midseason trade, shaking up the whole league. What do you think about it, Phil?
You know, I have a different team in my number one. I'm not going to dispute his, though. AB is a really good team. They have a lot of skill positions, obviously, the Mark Andrews-Lamar combo. But with my number one, I went with a guy who has been leading the division most of the season in 1-2. Put up a lot of points. He just slipped below AB this week, but I could see him coming back and really battling for that number one spot.
It's a real regular season powerhouse right there. He understands how to guide that team into the playoffs. When it gets there, I mean, that's a different story. But what do you think over there, Mike? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with my colleague Barry. What Atlantic Beach Taco Corp looks like a powerhouse right now. Monster trade, something we've never seen in the league before. And I think Jamar Chase is going to be that player that really turns it on in the second half of the season. Looks like they've got a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way. I think Atlantic Beach Taco Corp goes 5-1 over the next 6 weeks and
Wow.
keeps that one seed locked up. Yeah.
I also have Atlantic Beach Taco Corp in that one seed. They're on a roll right now, and I don't really see them keeping off that train. I think they're going to slide into the playoffs, like you said, taking maybe one or two more losses as the season progresses here. Let's move on to that 2 seed. That's going to be on the other side. That other division is going to take that bye. Obviously, want that first round of the playoffs. I have Jeffrey Dahmer sliding into that spot. He's sitting there right now. I don't think he gives it up. His team is on a roll. His projections look great. I think he just keeps that position. How you feeling, Phil?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. He's sitting there right now atop the East. Obviously, some things can change up. There's a lot of teams that are 4-3 right now. Half the division, over half the division, is sitting at 4-3. So we could see some things shake up for sure. But this is a team, like I've mentioned before in my weekly previews, they can put up a game any week. And be the scariest team in the league. Maybe it's not as consistent as we wanted to see so far, but I don't see anything changing too much. I think this team is going to continue its success and probably stick around for that number 2 seed in the coveted bye week.
Like you said, that division's kind of a mess right now on that side. You got a lot of teams coveting for that spot number 1. Someone could get left out. I mean, 2 teams could get left out from that division. It comes down to record after all of this. What do you think about this one, Barry? Who do you have in there?
Yeah, so I gotta say, I'm leaning more towards the Flyby Fruities. Chef has an all right team and all, but he's benefited from having a really low amount of points scored against him. And if the law of averages is going to tell me anything, it's that he's not going to be able to squeak out these wins and keep that number 1 spot. Not saying he's not making the playoffs, but I have the Flyby Fruities taking that bye week.
Definitely a strong contender right now. I mean, they're sitting in that 5 spot. They could slide up with one game as it shifts. The Flyby Fruities, though, have they beaten anyone good? They have a combined record of beating teams right now. I mean, it's sitting there. It's not good here, Skip. It's not good. 8-20 for their wins. That's the teams they beat. I mean, you beat up on the trash and you sit at 4-3. How great are you? Going to make the playoffs all year?
I will say Isaiah Pacheco, he's coming into his own. Darren Waller's finally getting the ball in that offense. Devontae Adams and Devontae Smith, Devontae squared. Yeah, they're going to take that 1 seed.
Devontae squared. I like that one. What do you think about it, Mike?
Look, I might have a surprise, especially coming from me at the 2 seed. I see Team SpongeBob making a serious run over the next several weeks. I think they go 4-2 to close out the season. I think those 2 losses are going to come to some powerhouses in 1-2 in Atlantic Beach Taco Corp. But look, I really like the core here. I mean, you have Bijan Robinson and Tony Pollard as your running backs. I think that's a really strong duo. Sam Laporta has turned out to be a diamond in the rough at tight end. And I think their wide receiver room is deep. And maybe DeAndre Hopkins wasn't the best pick at the time, but it looks like there's going to be a fire sale in Tennessee, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Hopkins on the move.
And Mike, before you go on, I just want to say, out of that East Division, he still has the highest percentage chance to make the playoff. So it's kind of, I could see what you're saying in that for sure.
Team SpongeBob, strong contender. You'd say America's team right now. We're going to look at that 3 spot. This is kind of that first open spot. It's going to go up to that best record, highest scoring kind of position. Personally, this is where I have 1-2 sliding in. I don't think they really missed that top seed by much. I just think Atlantic Beach Taco Corp with that trade puts them over the edge. But there is Number 1 seed has never won a championship in our league. Could be a scary spot to be in. Could be a spot you want to avoid. Who do you have in that number 1 spot, Phil?
So in my number 3 spot, I put AB Taco Corp. It's a guy, I don't have to say much about this team. Y'all kind of covered it with your number 1, with him receiving the bye. This team is great, very high scoring. I'd put them at 2 if it didn't have to be somebody out of the East Division. But I do think 1-2 can probably secure that 1 spot, just being that the team has led them the division in points for most of the year. Now, if we can start to see some of these games continue for AB, then that could very much change. I can absolutely see him clinching that number 1 spot. For right now, I have him at 3.
Big spot at 3. I mean, you got to play in the first round, but you keep your players active. You keep them loose. You don't have them on the bye week. Could work out. We've seen it work out before. How do you feel on this one, Barry? Barry, you're muted again, brother. You gotta press the mute button.
Look, I'm freelance now. I don't have my EP anymore. Okay, just cut me a break here, Dick. Okay, Dick. Anyway, I was saying I want to lean towards the Tallahassee Taint Touchers. Their team has a lot of name power, but you just can't do it with how 1-2 has been leading the league in scoring until just this last week. I mean, he's the only other team that's projected in the 140s on any given week, and I think he's going to be the 3 seed.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. How you feeling on this one, Phil?
Yeah, no, I think AB's right there where he needs to be at number 3. Like I said, if we continue to see those performances from this team, we could see a shakeup. But right now, I think AB at the 3.
Let's swing it over to Mike. Let's get yours on this one.
Yeah, look, no surprises here. It's going to be 1-2 for me at that 3 seed. I mean, 1-2 is really in a 2-person matchup any given week. It's whoever their opponent is that week, and they're also in a competition right now with Atlantic Beach Taco Corp. And unless we see that team slip at any point, unfortunately, 1-2 is going to see the negative impact of that. Find themselves in a 3 seed, despite I think finishing out the season quite competitively. Also 5-1 on the books.
And we have our 4 spot right now. I mean, it's not a bad position to be in. You're obviously making the playoffs. Who you have sitting there right now, Barry?
So I'm gonna throw a little curveball here at you guys. I think that Judge Judy's team is looking pretty good in the second half of the season. These matchups for Travis Kelce, Christian Watson, and Travis Etienne late in the year, if she can get past the couple games that she's behind, there's no doubt that she's going to stay in that playoff seeding. I think it's going to be on the back end, but I'm giving her the 4 seed.
Last time that team made the playoffs, they snuck in and won a championship. I mean, could be again. Yeah, Eli Manning did it twice. Let's see if she can. Over here, how you feeling on that one, Phil?
Barry, you said throw a curveball, but I have to say I have the same team penciled in at my number 4 spot, Judge Judy. And let me tell you why. This team's sitting, obviously the West is a strong division. I have one more person coming out of the West into the playoffs than I do the East. And so this is a powerhouse division already. And the 3 losses that Judge Judy has suffered were all in the first 3 weeks of the season. So she's come on really strong lately. And if you look at her performances through really the whole year, maybe one game was off, but this is one of the really high scoring teams in the league. And like you said, with Travis Etienne coming on and a couple of the young players she has, Travis Kelce obviously doing his thing each and every week. It's a strong team, man, and a team really I wouldn't want to face any week. Like I said, just go back, look at some of the performances, and you'll see why I'm saying this, because she's outscoring some of the people ahead of her and is just in her predicament by record alone. So if she can keep stringing together the wins, I think it's going to be good for her.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like Tallahassee Taint Touchers has that 4 seed locked up. I think they're perennial in the playoffs. They make it every single season. They don't know how to miss the playoffs, even drafting poorly. And they're going to be there in the end. His scoring's off the charts this year. Number 4 in the league in scoring. You got to mark him in there. It's just where you mark him in at. He's at 4 on mine. How you feeling on this one, Mike?
Look, I completely agree with you, Dick. I think Tallahassee Tane Touchers is right there, locked up for a spot. They're right up there record wise with the Atlantic Beach Taco Corp and 1-2. I'm not gonna lie. I like the Judge Judy hype, but she's 2 games behind. She's 2 games behind, and unless she runs the table and Tallahassee Tane Touchers slips up, I don't see it going the other way. And look, I think it's also time to admit maybe this manager knows how to draft. We all kind of gasped, gave flack for the Josh Allen at 4 pick, but he's one of the top scoring players in all of fantasy football right now. So let's give credit where credit's due.
I mean, manager Keller made a deal with the devil. He brought in Gruden. He hasn't missed the playoffs. He knows what he's doing. This man's got this system down. That 5 spot, that's that sneaky team right there. Could be anybody right now. I think that's 5 and 6, most open spots right there. I have Team SpongeBob sliding in for his first playoff appearance. That'd be big for him. A lot of years in this league, a lot of bad seasons. I think he finishes out strong, kind of keeps that positioning, slides into that 5 seed. How you feeling on this one, Phil?
So for my number 5 seed, I have Tallahassee. It's kind of back and forth with what y'all had from the number 4 seed. We chose Judge Judy, so I'm just switching it up here a little bit. Like I said, Judge Judy, 3 of her 4 losses were in the first 3 weeks. That's why I have her a little bit ahead because she's just come on as of late. But with Tally, a really strong team, and we've seen this continuously, each and every season. We think, will the production from this team fall? Does the football knowledge, hold up with what this team plans to do in the future? And he's continued to be on the right path. So I think that's the important thing. And, when he does make it into the playoffs, I think he'll make splashes. Really good team, really good manager. You have to give him that.
Have to give him that. I mean, he's obviously going to make it there. I matters where you slide him in, like I said. Mike, what are you doing with this one?
Look, this is where I have Jeffrey Dahmer making the playoffs. Welcome back, Chef. Look, right now, they would currently be the number 2 seed in the league. Excellent record, but let me talk about their schedule rest of season, some of the teams they got coming up. Week 9, Tallahassee Tane Touchers. Week 10, Atlantic Beach Taco Corp. Week 11, you're a Wizard Spina. Week 12, 1-2. Week 13, Judge Judy. And to round it out, another matchup with Atlantic Beach Taco Corp. That is a tough road ahead. So while they have a great record right now, and I think some really dynamic players on their roster, I think they're going to slip and probably go 2-4 down the run. But I think those overall points are going to keep them right there in the picture.
A lot of prove it games up ahead for Jeffrey Dahmer. They like to talk within that league chat. Let's see if they can back it up here coming up. 2 big matches with Atlantic Beach Taco Corp that could get him in the playoffs if he sweeps both of those. Let's move on to that 6th seed. We have that surprise seed. I think it's already been burst a little bit here. I have Judge Judy in that spot. I think she makes a good run here at the end. And like we said, she knows how to sneak into playoffs. Her team's coming alive. She's got that Travis squared combo right there. I do think she kind of keeps that run moving. She's top 3 in scoring. It's not going to end there very soon. How you feeling on this one, Barry?
Look, so this is where my second Eastern Conference team comes in. Just like how Phil said, I think there's only going to be 2 from that conference. And now I will say Jeffrey Dahmer is not making the playoffs because California Brewing Company, David Montgomery is coming back. Justin Jefferson comes back. This conference is tied up 4 ways. If they can hang on to that, keeping even with everybody and get their guys back, they're going to be right in line with the best teams in the league.
I mean, that's a tough spot to be in, saying if they get their guys back. It's tough to be in that spot. We don't know where Fields is at with that thumb. We honestly don't know when JJ's coming back or if he's coming back this season. I think that's something we'll see out the rest of this year. How you feeling on this spot, Phil?
Yeah, so on the 6th spot, I have a team that, I've been criticized for a lack of coverage with the Fly-By Fruities. Obviously having a really good season. And sometimes it's better to not be talked about at all than it is to have a bunch of hype around your name. When it comes this time of season, it's, do or die. And I think this team is able to do. I will say it was a really hard toss up, choosing between this team and the California Brewing Company, being as they have the same percentage chance to make the playoffs. Both are sitting at 4-3. It's a tough division and a lot can happen, but I think the Flyby Fruities, can make the push to the playoffs at that number 6 side, which is saying a lot because, like we've reiterated time and time again, the East has less powerful teams than the West. I think we all know that. So, second team out of the East is going to be the Flyby Fruities.
Definitely a tough position. There's a lot of good teams to choose from there. And honestly, comes down to points for me at the end of the season. I don't think these records will be too far off from each other. I do think it's going to come down to who can score the most points here week in, week out. How you feel on this one, Mike?
Look, Dick, I feel like I'm looking at a mirror when I look at our playoff brackets. I also have Judge Judy at that 6th seed. I mean, come on, man. Did you steal my bracket?
You came on my show here. I mean, you had to see my stuff on my set. Come on.
Did you steal my bracket?
Oh my
Or
gosh,
not?
on my show here? All right. We're not doing this one again.
Look, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
It would be like Dick to do some shit like that, you know.
All right, we don't need to hear from Phil, especially the background audience here. I mean, listen, great minds think alike here. I do think we see similarly on this. The playoffs, they feel like they're pretty laid out already. I don't think we'll see a lot of surprises. Some of these teams are already on the fall for the season. We have some very beat up rosters. We have some teams that have beat up on some pretty bad teams already. I don't know. I don't think it's going to shake up very much. I'm glad that we all got together to discuss it here, boys. Barry, you're looking good as ever. Glad that you can make it today. Hope the sobriety's still going in some sort or the other. And
Yeah, I
next time.
appreciate you bringing that up. For anybody who needs help out there, it took a life-changing experience for me. I had a scratch of death, and I'm here, and I'm a whole new man, and hopefully.
And he's cut off again.
Barry, welcome again, ladies and gentlemen. It was great seeing you guys, and you all have a good night.